And away we go. It is the Nightcap, brought to you by Galactic Fried Chicken right here on BearcatJournal.com. As always, visit www.galacticfriedchicken.com. Download the app for Android, iPhone, everything Galactic. Get down to Dayton, Kentucky. Tell them to pump it up. Save yourself 15%. Chicken tendies, the best chicken tenders in the city. Chicken dunkers, which are my personal favorite. Some fries, some coleslaw, maybe some deviled eggs, maybe some fried pickles, all the things that you love from your favorite fried chicken spot in the city. Or if you just want to order it from home, go to the app. They'll deliver to anywhere inside, almost anywhere inside the 275 loop. All right, Aaron, let's get rocking. Friday night is an off night for us.
Correct.
Saturday at noon, the Bearcats take on Central Florida, which is maybe the most pivotal game of the season.
It's important.
I don't know that I'm not going to label it must win, but in terms of Cincinnati is 6-4 in conference. They are in a bundled up group, okay? Temple, 8-2 in conference. Memphis, 7-2 in conference. Tulane, 7-3. Cincinnati, 6-4. Cincinnati has a game left with Temple, a game left with Memphis, a game left with Tulane. Cincinnati sits right now currently in 5th place. The team in 6th place, Central Florida, they play twice. It's the only team they have left on the schedule that they play twice. You can set the tone over these final 8 games by knocking off Central Florida at Fifth Third Arena, and then you go on the road on Tuesday at Tulane. Which I think this is as big a game as we've seen on the schedule all season.
You potentially have the chance to move into 4th place, or tied for 4th place, I guess, beating Tulane.
Right. I just think this Central Florida game, you have to come in and play like you're the better team. And here's kind of the concern. They've lost 4 in a row, Central Florida. They have talent. They've lost 4 in a row. They get a week off. This is their bye week, essentially, in how
we had before Houston.
Right. They're going to be in the lab pissed off all week. You're going to see the resolve from Central Florida. They're going to come out and play as aggressive as you can possibly play to start this game. Cincinnati has to answer. They can't come out flat like I thought they did a little bit against Tulsa.
Yeah.
Where it was 14-13 at the under 8, and Tulsa stinks.
That first 8 was we talked about it last night. It was sloppy.
Yeah.
But it was a get right game, and boy did they get right.
Yeah. I still think that's a game they should have won probably by 35.
I would also make the argument that Cincinnati right now is playing their best ball that they have all year collectively.
The metrics show that, yes.
Over the course of the last roughly 5 games or so. They move up to 59 in the Ken Palm. First time in the top 60 in God knows how long. It's been a while.
I just think there's such an importance on this game in terms of momentum.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you win this game and you move to 7-4 and you're continuing to show improvement, right? Then, like I said, you've got at Tulane on Tuesday, South Florida on over the weekend, East Carolina. At East Carolina, what the hell, the 15th, the day after Valentine's Day? I don't know what day that is of the week. Probably a Wednesday.
It's a Wednesday.
You've got a chance to win 4 in a row if you can get this UCF game. And obviously, of those 4, Tulane at Tulane is going to be the toughest task because they've been solid.
Tulane beat us already.
Yeah, no.
Wasn't it?
Cincinnati beat Tulane to open conference play.
No, they did. You're right. 88-77. It was Temple. Sorry. God, these too many T names.
T. But you've got a chance if you win on Saturday to get on a run. You win it. You win. You beat UCF at home. You've got at Tulane. You've got South Florida at home. You've got at East Carolina, and then again at UCF. I think personally, that's the best opportunity for a 5-game winning streak that we've seen on the conference schedule.
Well,
there's no Memphis in there.
It would be 6.
There's no Temple in there.
It'd be 6 if you include Tulsa.
Yeah, I don't include Tulsa. They suck. That team's terrible.
Well, I guess
if you go 4-1, even if you go 4-1, we said in the beginning, right, Aaron? 12-6. Aim for 12-6.
Mm-hmm.
If you go 4-1 in this next 5-game stretch, 12-6 is well within reach.
I want to go back to South Florida, where they had arguably their best half in a very long time. They played Memphis. They played Memphis well, not well enough to win, but they played them well.
I disagree. I hated how they played.
I think they should have won, but I didn't look at the game, and I wasn't like, who is this team?
Yeah.
Then against Houston, they gave them everything they had.
Yeah. They threw every punch that was in the arsenal.
And then in Tulsa, they handled business. And again, get right game. Let's go. So between those 4 games that I have here on the screen, you've had a lot of really good basketball in these 4 games.
They played well in a lot of those 4 games.
I know you said that you wanted to see them build momentum. I think they've already built momentum. And I think that this momentum is – I mean, again, you didn't win big games. Memphis and Houston being those big games. But you have the opportunity to win a game that's not the biggest game, but this is a game you have to win. It's a must-win back against the wall. We haven't had one of these must-win games unless you're talking about tournament style.
The reality is, if Central Florida wins at Fifth Third Arena, oh boy,
your season's over. You're tanked. You're hoping you get an invite to an NIT.
An invite to the NIT is not likely if you lose to Central Florida at Fifth Third Arena, given what's to come.
It's not a good look. But again, I think that this team is really starting to click. You see it in how loose they are in pressers. You see it in how loose they are on the court. Yeah. Vic's been staying out of foul trouble. Vic's been staying out of foul trouble largely over the course of the last 4 games. People aren't getting too emotional. Landers doesn't understand why he can't talk after a shot. Even if you're not cursing, he understands that if you curse, that's a problem. But he doesn't understand why you can't talk. But they're loose, and I think that Wes has really started to maybe for the first
coaching really hard.
Maybe for the first time since he's been here, his culture is starting to really bloom.
Agree, 1,000%. Agree, 1,000%.
And I think that's why he was able to make the moves like Kalu. You're on the bench for a while. JD, you're not starting anymore. And that's why these moves haven't just imploded the team.
No, they've resonated with the team.
Mm-hmm. So why do you need Davenport out there when you need rebounds? You don't need more shots when you have Micah, when you have Landers, when you have Dave, when you have Vic. You need rebounds.
And a little bit of toughness and a little bit of athleticism. Yeah.
So the way that things are running right now, that makes sense. And these rotations look good.
Yeah.
When Skillings is out there with a lot of guys who have a lot of experience.
You know what? You make a great point. You know what I haven't heard a lot of? Why is this rotation out there? I can't believe Wes put these 5 guys on the floor together and there was a 7-0 run. You know what I mean? Like
rotations have looked great.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
They make sense.
Yeah.
I agree. You're bringing in guys for deficiencies Odie, JD off the bench with some younger guys. Like, these things make sense. And I think that, honestly, this might be the quietest that when we're not winning big games, this might be the quietest that the fan base has been in years.
There's been decided improvement across the roster. And the things that they were bad at to start the season, they have shown to be significantly better at. And I think it's weird for the fan base to adjust to like, oh, well, I was bitching about this in November, and it's a lot better now.
I mean, the biggest example of that is Kalu.
Of course. But like I'll use Mike Denbrock as an example. Mike Denbrock was a fantastic offensive coordinator at the University of Cincinnati. In 2020 and 2021, those were the second and third best offenses in program history. But in 2018 and 2019, people weren't happy with him. So that just carried over. And there was never really like a convincing argument that things had gotten significantly better. There was an argument at the beginning of this season. The defense was absolute trash. The rebounding was trash. They got into these funks where they didn't pass the ball. They got stuck in isolation, and they stunk on offense.
People wanted Wes out. That was an actual conversation that was being had on social media. But I think people actually – it's weird. I feel like I've seen those same people.
All those things I hated have gotten better.
Yeah. That's good coaching. That's what happens. That's what happens when you have a good coach. He's able to make the adjustments. Well, maybe not mid-game because he doesn't have the talent, but over the course of a season, he's able to build that culture. He's able to get guys like Landers Nolly, who had never been bought in to getting back on defense or rebounding, and he's talked about it to where he's now got his buy-in on those things. He's like, we're not even scratching the surface on how good this dude can be.
Yeah. The other big news of the day, Day Thomas commits.
Huge news.
Wes loves this dude. I can say, like, with the certainty. I know Wes can't say it at this point in time, but the staff, Chad Dollar, Wes Miller, they love this kid, his toughness, his ability to play downhill, his ability to attack the rim, which is really something that this roster. Dave has been really good playing off ball screens. Dave has been really good playing downhill. But Dave is not a guy that's going to get to the rim and finish like through contact or dunk on you.
No, he's a layup.
He's going to hit a floater.
Yep.
He's going to pull up. He's going to step back from 15 feet into a three because he stepped back 7 feet.
He's got that James Harden down.
Right.
Down.
Right. Like, that's not Dave's game. Wes wants a guy that's going to attack the rim and continue to put pressure on a defense to stop you from having a guy putting his hand at the rim. And
my favorite thing about Day and what he brings, and this is from all accounts, I'll be honest, I have not watched any video of him yet. I have not actually seen anything they can do, but from all accounts, from talking to you, from reading a little bit here and there, he brings Bearcat grit, and that's something that Wes has been trying to build. He knows how important that Bearcat grit, that Bearcat toughness is to this fan base, and he has not been shy about bringing guys in who are that.
Day Thomas, Jizzle James. They are going to be putting the ball in the hands of two guys that are relentless. And that's a huge positive for this program going forward.
Sure. Why wouldn't it? I mean, that's one of the needs here. I mean, he's what, 6'1", if I'm not mistaken?
About 6'1", yeah.
And he can fly. And between Jizzle and Day, I think the point guard is going to be locked up for a little while.
Yeah. They're in a good place. I really like the addition of Davion Thomas. I've liked everything I've talked to from.
Correct me if I'm wrong. He's the number one JUCO prospect.
He's officially the number 4 JUCO prospect, the number 2 JUCO guard.
Okay. So
It's top 5.
There's the correction. Wow.
Well, top 5.
That's
You
pretty
get
good.
a top 5 guy that in anything.
I'm sure it also depends on whose ratings
Evaluating,
you're reading,
right.
right, and all of that. But that's good.
Yeah. It's starting to click. And Wes Miller tonight was in Indianapolis watching Flory Badunga.
It's Kokomo, not Jamaica.
Kokomo. Aruba, Jamaica. Ooh, I want to take you. Key Largo, Montego. Baby, why don't we go down to Kokomo? That's the Nightcap, brought to you by Galactic Fried Chicken. We'll see you Saturday right here on BearcatJournal.com.
See ya!